Hey guys, welcome to your astrological horoscope for the new moon. Yay! On the midnight of December 18th. Welcome. This is it, right? This is what we've all been waiting for. It's time to step truly into the new world. It's a new age. And Sagittarius is here to open that gate and be like, alright, you've been exploring your island. You've gone into the depths of it so that you can find some shelter and food before the sun comes, before the sun comes down. And here you guys are. It is now the eve of it all, and quite appropriately, as the new moon occurs at night here on the East Coast. And this is that moment when you're laying down on the beach and you look up and all you see are the twinkle little stars, the ocean of stars in the sky, in the clear night sky. And you're just sitting there dazzled and amazed at the wonders that you've walked into. That is going to be our new moon. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. We have a couple things that we want to talk about. As always, I must always remind you, with new moons comes new intentions and new things that you want to work to. So, let's talk about it. New moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is definitely about wanting to have fun, about wanting to just chill with others. It's about, higher learning and philosophies. It's about wanting to... It's also a very good time for traveling. So I know that a lot of people right now are kind of like going back home, and they're going with their families because it's going to be the holidays, not Christmas. Yule, right? It's definitely a big celebratory time, and this is a time of generosity as people give presents left and right during the 25th, of course, Xmas, and it's really about that expansion, about wanting to be with others. It's about wanting to be in a fun, enjoyable environment. And that's what this new moon really kind of desires. It just wants to give everyone a lot of freaking fun, because we've been through a lot of challenging aspects. And it's just like, dude, you need a break. You need a break. You've had it really hard for a while. But you've had it hard, and now here's a whole new world you're stepping into, and it's time for you to enjoy this new world that you're stepping into. But note that you're not the only one that stepped into this new world, and there are others that will be following behind you that may not have you in the best of their intentions. So keep yourself always ever vigilant of what it is that you're going to end up doing. So, now, but what can we expect out of this new moon? We as the people, we as an individual. Niwa, tell me about me. How does this new moon affect me? All right. There's a couple things actually that I was taking a look at that was like, oh, actually that's pretty cool. So, you guys already know that Mars has entered Scorpio. Interestingly enough here though, actually, Mars is going to be making an aspect to Neptune. So this is a really cool thing. And this aspect is going to be occurring through the transit of the new moon. Now, when Mars is trining Neptune like this is a really good thing as far as creative endeavors. So, this is a really good time for, either picking up or expanding or learning things like music and art, plays, dramas, anything that has to do with 12th house Pisces. Creativity is at its peak when it comes to the things that you want to execute, which is obviously our Mars here. This is our pursuit, our actions. So they're very aligned to high creativity at this time. This is also a very spiritual transit, because Neptune and Pisces are both the connection to spirit, the singularity of the originator. So having Mars here is also a really good time to maybe pick up astrology or do religious community service. I mean, we are new moon in Sagittarius, and Sagittarians rule religion. So this is a very big spiritual moment. Maybe go out, do community service, help out over the Christmas time, spreading out food for the homeless with your local insert religion here. Things that are service for others, that help those less fortunate. This is a really, really good time for that. Because of Mars trining Neptune. It's a very non-aggressive transit, despite the fact that we have a shit ton of revolution and shit going on and rebellion and all that stuff, right? It's a very very passive transit. Even though Mars is in Scorpio, which is literally the most intense sign, this trine to Neptune really pacifies it a little bit. It's like, dude, I get that you want to be intense, and I get that you want to be aggressive, and I know you want to go out and do things. Rather than going out and doing things in the material world, why don't you go on a spiritual side? Why don't you go on a spiritual adventure? Rather than fighting people in this three-dimensional matrix world, why don't you go fight their higher selves? Why don't you go out and fight on the spiritual realm instead for the things that are happening? Now, obviously, if you've seen other astrologers like the Peace Dealer, he'll be talking about like World War Zero and stuff, in which there's a spiritual warfare that's going on and stuff. I wish I can cap a little bit on that, but it's not my forte. Definitely should check him out about it. And with Mars being in Scorpio, this really can be a little bit of a spiritual warfare going on right now. There might be religions denouncing each other and calling each other fake news and stuff, right? So this could be a little bit of a spiritual warfare time. But honestly, I would go with the more positive aspects of this. Engage in some art, maybe it's the good time to drop that mixtape that you've been working on for weeks and haven't released. Not shots at somebody that I know. Very more passive transits overall. So what about Venus? Niwa, what is that love going on? Tell me about my love. Give me that love horoscope. What you got going on for me with Venus? So a lot of the aspects, unfortunately, a lot of the aspects that are in Sagittarius are squaring Chiron. Like, that's the thing. They're all squaring Chiron. And even though they're in Sagittarius, which is a very beneficial and positive sign, they all feel a little bit insecure. They all have a bit of like awkward problems. They all have this thing that they're kind of like roughing with, and they're not doing very good. Like, for example, right now, the sun squaring Chiron is really about dealing with a time of weaknesses, dealing with insecurity, unresolved issues, learning to overcome and fix them. This might be also a very important time in life in which you might have to patch things up with family members, especially fathers, or men in relationships. So let's say maybe you are in a relationship with somebody who is already married to someone else. Hopefully you're not caught in that kind of situation, but this might be a time in which you're going to have to deal with the problems in that type of very awkward relationship. Maybe you have some daddy issues that need to be resolved and patched out. This is going to be a very good time to do that. Moon squaring Chiron is really about that whole feeling awkward, feeling like you got to do something. If you're a parent, maybe you feel like you're not doing enough for your kids. If you're a sibling or something, maybe there's something more that you can do for other family members. There's definitely a need to fix things, patch things, and be able to move forward through this almost really awkward feeling that we're going to be getting. I've already talked about the whole Jupiter and the nodes, but I'm going to cover them one more time because I think I also have a kind of a different interpretation for them as well. Um, we've definitely been talking about the whole uh, a change in beliefs because North Node, South Node, both of them are squaring Jupiter, which is a very big on your beliefs, but it's also a very big change in like your optimism, your hopes, your luck even. You have Vesta right next to it, so we're still very much focusing on ourselves in regards to this transit, in which we're kind of really trying to make sense of everything around us. I was just talking to Malena the other day about how sometimes I don't see Jupiter as a personal planet, but really it is a personal planet, right? It usually expands things when it's in conjunct with something else, but aside from that, there's also this whole thing in which Jupiter has a lot of personal traits, right? It rules our optimism, it rules our luck, it rules our beliefs. And I don't mean just religious one, but even non-religious one, like, oh, I don't believe in abortion, or I do believe in abortion, or oh, I don't believe in X, Y, or Z type of things, right? So it rules a lot of our mentalities of certain traits and aspects and debates and stuff. And so when I think about it that way, Vesta's kind of really telling us to focus really on the things that we believe in, whether they're things that are aligned with us, or if they're things that need to be changed and let go. And throughout this whole entire transit, because this has been a long transit and it's going to continue going. This isn't just for the new moon, but this is going to be going for quite a while. Vesta's going to end up just doing her own thing, though. Jupiter's really kind of taking a really hard look at a lot of our things in life, and it's just kind of like, is this really what's right for us or not? And this is a really big self-reflection moment, especially as we're having a lot of these insecurities in Sagittarius because of this Chiron. And right now we're kind of really going spiritual. This is a big focus on yourself and find out if there are changes in your belief structure that need to change. But again, as I said, that's going to end up going for quite a while. The last thing I kind of really want to talk about is just this whole everything that's happening, right? Juno going into Aquarius, we're now becoming more committed and we're more willing to back people that are from like larger organizations, not so much like corporate things, because that's more Capricorn, but like maybe a youth foundation, for example, or maybe a union party that is trying to help people out, or maybe your local YMCA staff group, people that help kids with traumas or whatever have you. It's definitely a support, a commitment of support for other people, and as well as like trying to get in contact with people. Like, Juno in South Node, or not South Node, excuse me, in Aquarius is really a kind of like connecting with other people. And I know that sounds a little weird because you think like, wait a minute, hold on, wouldn't that be sort of like Leo and stuff? But like Aquarius rules friends, it rules acquaintances, and it rules large groups of people. Juno is literally commitment and connection with others. It's on the cusp of the 6th and 7th house, which is Virgo and Libra. Libra being the sign of one-on-one connections with others. So Juno here is really about meeting new people. You're going to meet new acquaintances, you're going to meet new contacts, new connections, possibly new friends. This is a really big time to expand your circle of people that you know and really begin to know a lot more people that you probably did not know before. Like, let's say you joined a new guild, right? A video game. Let's say that you join a guild and the guild has like 230 plus members. Holy shit, you know, you just trying to get into this group because you know this one person and you got in, and all of a sudden you have like 10, 20 people, you know, greeting you to the guild, and you're like, oh, hi everyone. You know, I was just interested on joining because I heard you guys are for this and that, and I wanted to be a part of the team. And so all of a sudden, boom, you just got a bunch of new contacts that you're now in contact with, essentially. So it's kind of like that, but on a more realistic and worldwide type of sense. We know, we got Lilith returning to Capricorn, trying one more time. She is gonna get knocked down into Sagittarius again, but she's in Capricorn and she's trying again. She's trying to get through Capricorn. She's going at her own pace, and when Lilith goes at her pace, there's not a whole lot that we can do to actually stop her from going a little too fast. But it's cool. It's cool. We do have Mars sextiling Lilith. So whatever we do, definitely know that you have the self-authority when it comes to this. Don't let people try to tell you that no, you can't do something, or no, you shouldn't be doing something. Make sure that you are taking that blessing from Lilith and you are saying, hey, no, I get to decide what it is that I want to do. I get to decide what it is that I want to initiate or be with or proceed or be wherever I want. You can't tell me what to be doing. With Saturn here in the 29th degree, it's definitely learning that, hey, you can have some fun. It's cool. But you also need to make sure to be straight and solid and making sure you're doing what it is that you're supposed to be doing in order to move forward. Saturn in this last degree of Sagittarius is like, it's kind of like that one reminder that tells you, hey, by the way, make sure you get your summer homework done before you start the next session of classes in September, right? Make sure you get your homework done before you come back in January and you start continuing your winter classes. It's a very big, it's cool to play. Just make sure you get your work done. Don't slack off. It's a very big reminder on that. We also have, very interestingly enough here, actually I forgot to get rid of all of this. We also have a very interesting aspect here involving Mercury, in which Mercury is trining the North Node and sextiling the South Node. This is a shift in our communications. Which is really cool because I feel like a lot of us have been a bit shy and not coming out of our shells and stuff. And we want to connect with others, but I feel like maybe we haven't been doing so in the best of ways. And because Mercury has been retrograding and is squaring Chiron, there's this whole, man, I was just trying to help him and trying to tell him what's up and where I stand and what I'm for. And I just feel like I fucked this up, man. I feel like I tried to help him and say the right thing, but for some reason he took it the wrong way and now he's mad at me, and I'm trying to figure out how to fix all of this. And, this aspect here, I feel like it's a whole lot of, there are certain things that maybe you're not going to be able to communicate properly. Maybe there's a little bit of fear here and it's been real difficult to get things going straight, or maybe things haven't just been going as you had expected. Definitely a lot of miscommunication, things that just need to be let go, or maybe things that just don't need to be said, and just move on with what you believe is right. Definitely nurturing that communication and that learning with others, because Mercury does also rule things like lower level learning. Sometimes I would even say really kind of politics, because it's that like drama and bickering and just hashtag petty gang. And there are things that are better left unsaid. There's just no reason to engage with all of this. Instead, follow your heart, bring kindness to the world. Don't speak with such a negative tone of like, oh, you're not gonna come with me today. Instead, say something like, hey, you want to come out with me and have some fun today? Just even a change in language that's simple can make like a negative statement sound much more positive and bright. Just you know, be more positive with your expression. If you need to take a moment and actually think out of what it is that you need to say and communicate before you open your mouth, go ahead and take a moment, right? You know, Sagittarius is blunt. Mercury and Sag is going to be a very blunt person. You're going to say a lot of things and you might end up regretting it. Like, oh shit, that's not what I meant to say. Oh fuck, I just struck at the wrong chord and that's going to hurt. That happens to me often. I am ruled by Sagittarius, and it doesn't help that my Mars is in Scorpio. So when I say my blunt shit, it's going to sting. Especially because it always comes out awkwardly because I have Uranus on top of my Mercury. So like, it's just one of those things where you want to make sure that your message is proper, is straight. Even if it's blunt and honest, just make sure that the blow isn't a punch to the face and just kind of like a light tap, right? You don't want to offend or hurt anyone, especially if there's someone that are very important to you and in your life. Definitely keep your heart, keep to your heart and make sure you're not hurting anyone. Really, kind of, that's really about it. I mean, we can talk about this whole aspect that has been happening with Ceres and Pluto, but like we've already known about it for quite some time. This isn't quite a yod, although I really wish it was. Ceres is the female equivalent of Pluto, so they're both really working together to change people's lives for the better, right? There's definitely a huge change in the establishment here, and there's a huge change in people's attitudes, positivity, and moving forward with whatever it is they want to do in life. Pluto's just kind of sitting here just waiting for everyone to catch up. Like, you got to think about this, right? Since the beginning of the year, Pluto has been in Capricorn, and Pluto's just waiting and waiting and waiting, and like, every time Lilith gets to Capricorn, it has to retrograde back into Sagittarius. Gets into Capricorn, retrogrades back into Sagittarius, right? It's so lonely there. It only had Juno to keep him company, and now she's gone. So like he just wants some freaking company. Sees the moon like once a month, and it's like, bye moon. It was nice knowing you, buddy. See you next month. You know, Saturn is almost home, so these two are going to be together for several years. That's going to be pretty fun. Sun's almost there. They're going to be together for, you know, about 2 weeks or so. Same thing with Venus, and a little less for Mercury. So definitely Pluto's going to get some friends coming in. The thing is, when you have a lot of energy getting together on Capricorn, it's going to be crazy. But that's not something we have to talk about for the new moon. That's just something to look forward to, because that's going to be important as we go into the next full moon in the next 14-ish days, 15-ish days. In which the new full moon is going to be in its ruling house of Cancer. So definitely that's going to be major, because it's a full moon in its own sign. I need to dissect that one and give you guys some more info on what that's going to end up looking like. But for now, just focus on the new moon. There's definitely a lot of energies coming about. We're definitely stepping into something that we have not seen in many years. And I'm not talking about decades, but I'm talking about centuries. So a lot of really crucial energy, moments, decisions going to be made that can change the lives of people permanently. Or at least for an extended period of time, because when we're talking about earth energy, we're talking about slow progression, and once the earth settles, once the ground stops shaking, it doesn't want to shake. It's going to stay very grounded for a long period of time. So definitely a lot of changes coming in that are going to be affecting people for a long time to come. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully y'all been working towards that positive change and that positive growth and the correct direction to be going in, because this is it. You know, the cement is drying up. Once Saturn is in on the 19th, that's it. It's Capricorn season. The sun enters Capricorn on the 21st, and I hope y'all were prepared. I hope y'all were prepared. But that's it for now, really. Hopefully y'all really enjoy this and lightened it. And again, if you guys found this useful and want to help contribute, really much do appreciate any type of donations our way. It helps us stay on the air and gives us ideas of like how to help y'all in different ways. Like I said, I want to open up a service that like brings in people and they're like, hey Niwa, can you tell me about my chart? And I want to be able to make videos educating others with how certain aspects will be happening in your guys' chart. Want to keep expanding the basics of astrology, give you guys some more tips, tricks, and teach you all about astrology and how to unlock the secrets to your natal charts. Because if I take, for example, like my own chart, I've been looking at my chart for 8 months now, and there are still things that I go back to every now and then. I'm like, wow, I didn't realize this. Because the natal chart is a contract that is so intense and profound that it cannot be easily unlocked in a single day or even in a week or a month. It has a lot of information, and the more knowledgeable you are about learning how to read your charts, definitely you begin to understand how it is that you can go about your life in a much more focused and correct direction. So always here to help you guys spread what's happening in the sky and hopefully educate you guys about how to read charts and understand a lot of the gibberish that I sometimes spew out here. But yeah, hopefully you guys found this enlightening and helpful and useful. And, as usual, stay safe, stay positive, and brace yourself for this new moon in Sag. 'Cause I'm about to go Super Saiyan 3. Peace!